Hi everyone, it's me, Mike Contino, realtor in South Jersey and also Pennsylvania. And today I'm not going to talk about selling you a house. I'm going to tell you about memories of a house. Here we are on the corner of Lyndale and Main in Williamstown, New Jersey. And the great thing about this house, it is the last house in our family that still has our childhood memories. This home was owned by Gilda and Charles Denovi, otherwise known as Aunt Jill and Uncle Charlie. Here we are on the corner of Lyndale and Main. This house, I spent many a summer here with my cousin Raymond and our aunts and uncles. And you can see, growing up in a little row home in South Philadelphia that I did, coming here to the country, this home was like, oh my goodness gracious. So like going to a rich person's home. They had a piece of ground, a yard here. It was a single family home, and the house is filled with wonderful memories. One of the last memories I remember as a kid here was a party we had. Grandmom DeAngelis, she was in a nursing home at the time, and she came here for a big picnic and barbecue. And she sat right in this spot right over here. As the rest of us played, we had different games and baseball, and they cook out, and it was a wonderful time with Grandmom DeAngelis. Uncle Charlie's house here, he took care of this home. He's lived here. Him and Aunt Jill lived here for over 60 years, which is amazing. He had his own little shed, no garage, but a little shed here, all his lawn equipment, his workbench, and everything in there. And the home worked its way all the way around the side here. This is the front door. We never use this front door though, but there's a great picture of the three uncles standing right outside of this front door, and I'll show you inside. But first of all, this was a nice little patio Uncle Charlie had built here, and this is an addition. This was a front porch at one time. When you went into this front porch, then there was a door that opened up and went right into the kitchen, as we're going to go see right now. When you came into the home, this was the porch, outside porch, and as you turn this way, there was a doorway that went right into the kitchen. And over here, Uncle Charlie, I don't know how many years ago, probably at least 30 years ago, turned this into a family room. He had his famous, right over here, his recliner. And as kids, we always remember him watching football or sports on his television that was right over here. But this was the gathering place for everybody in the family, right in this family room. Now, this was the place where all the cooking was done. Aunt Gilda was a spectacular cook. This was a large kitchen. Remember, we grew up in a little row home. We had a little tiny kitchen. This was huge, but there was something unique about Aunt Gilda's kitchen when we were kids, and had to do with her refrigerator. Most people don't know this, or they will remember this, but Aunt Gilda, her refrigerator was not the standard one like this. Her refrigerator was on the wall. I never had seen anything like that before in my life. She had her refrigerator hung on the wall right over here, and you opened and closed it, which was, we never heard of such a thing. This room here used to be her living room. She eventually turned it into her dining room. And Uncle Charlie put these spindles here, so you had the dining room in here and the kitchen here, and it was like one big great room, your family room. The house flowed great. This is a 2-bedroom rancher with a full basement and an attic. And as a child, when I was a young guy, I stayed here with Raymond, and we used to sleep. We had 2 twin beds up in the attic. Bathroom right over here. And there are 2 bedrooms back here. Sometimes we used to stay in this room here. Later in life, Uncle Charlie had his little TV back here, and when I used to visit him, he used to be watching the Phillies game back in this room right here. Now, as kids, this was the place to have parties. Uncle Charlie had this finished off, this basement, with all the knotty pine. It's a little dark. I have to open some lights here. Here we are in the basement. We have some old family films of Raymond's birthday parties down here. This wall was never here. This one big open room. One of the last big parties I remember was Uncle Charlie and Aunt Gilda's, I believe it was her 25th wedding anniversary, and my 2 buddies, Sunshine and Fingers, were the bartenders. Aunt Gilda's made this into her sewing room. You see the old-fashioned sewing machine here, and of course, like every Italian family, they had a kitchen in the basement. There's her gas range. Still some of her old sewing equipment. And this was divided into Uncle Charlie's little workroom over here. I remember he had his train sets. Raymond had his trains down here. This was Aunt Gilda's laundry room, laundry tub, and other equipment they had down in this basement. These were fun times. Earlier I mentioned about the three brother-in-laws, and here's a picture. You have on the left Johnny J, then Chester, who's my dad, in the middle, and then Uncle Charlie on the right. The three brother-in-laws, they married to three sisters, and I'll tell you about that in a moment. Now it's just storage. There's a few things left from Aunt Gilda and Uncle Charlie, and this was, like I said, another little finished room for us guys as kids. And now to recap this property at Lindale, Maine in Williamstown, New Jersey. There were 6 children. Pietro and Assunta DeAngelis, who are our grandparents, had 6 children, starting with the oldest, 3 girls. There was Mary, Gilda, Michelina, then 3 boys, Louis, Peter, and Joe. Well, the 3 girls had 3 husbands who you saw in that picture. Mary was married to Johnny J, Gilda was married to Uncle Charlie, and Michelina was married to my father, Celestino. Those 3 brother-in-laws they got along great and were the funniest guys you want to be around. They instigated and started good, fun trouble all the time, and were always fun to be around. They're the great memories we have as kids. I'm sitting at the kitchen table here where there are many, many good meals that Aunt Gilda had prepared, and we have great memories here. One of the last times I remember too was the summer Memorial Day of 1982. All the siblings were still alive, all 6. And Aunt Gilda had a big barbecue here, and I came here and we played horseshoes, and we had a fun time hanging out with all the aunts and uncles. It was something we all look forward to as kids. I took this video, something to remember. Again, other than the house in North Wildwood, this is the last house that has memories of our childhood. We came to Williamstown in the late 50s. Aunt Gilda had been married, and my Uncle Pete bought a farm down the road a few miles. And that's as kids. My grandparents lived there. We spent every Sunday there. We also spent, I spent summers there hanging out with my grandpa Pete on his farm, selling produce on the side of the road, and having a grand old time. My name is Mike Contino. This is the home of Gilda and Charles DeNovi, otherwise known as Aunt Jill and Uncle Charlie. We're going to miss them. The house is being sold today's Wednesday. The house is being sold on Friday, December 28th, 2012. And as I end all of my videos, I say to everyone, I'll see you on the beach. Here, when I'm in Williamstown, I always say, I'll see you down on the farm.